Joe, you ready?
Yeah, that's how he should have handled that.
Ready.
What's something a friend has said to you that changed the way you looked at him?
I don't know. Nothing.
That answer sucks.
Dude, I don't know. I mean,
around the board. All right, next thing. You know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Never?
I don't think so.
I
I mean, if
read
you're my
this.
friend, you're my friend. Like, I don't think you could say anything that would change it that much. I don't know.
Mine's old.
Come on.
I've told this story before. I guess I'd call him my friend at the time. I don't know. We were drifting apart. At 17, he went into like a 7-Eleven. Is that around the country? Does everyone know what a 7-Eleven is? Like a Quickie Mart.
Yep.
And anyway, he got beat up by like I'll just say it. He got beat up by a bunch of black guys. And when he first told the story to me, it was that he was just randomly jumped. Like he didn't do anything to bring this upon himself. And while he didn't deserve this kind of damage, he has like broken orbital bone and stuff.
Yeah. Was he ever pretty again, or was he forever maimed?
No, he was pretty again.
This guy just wanted to destroy something.
That matters.
Anyway, what happened was this little kid, he was like 17, the kid was like 12, and he cut in line. Now, I don't know if they were like sort of approaching at the same time or if the kid just fully cut in line or what the scoop was. But he said, effing ninjas always cutting in line, but didn't say ninjas.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know, that forever I realized like, he's totally racist. And by the way, this is not like a stereotype I'm familiar with. You know, this like, black people always cutting in line.
Yeah, if he said, never fucking tipping or paying their bills or something like that, I'd have been like, yeah, I hear you. They don't tip. That's the thing. Anybody out there in the service industry, anybody out there who's ever worked for tips, put in the comment box and let everybody else here know that black people don't tip, because it's a thing.
Well, have you worked for tips?
Tip. No, I haven't, but I fucked a lot of waitresses.
Just as good.
Have any of us ever worked for tips? I'm just curious.
I have.
No. I got a good one though. So I do have someone. So one of my real good friends. So that Chris Palmquist.
Sure.
You know Chris,
Yeah.
right? So Chris has a twin brother, Jay, who I was definitely much better friends with Jay when I first became friends with them, and started training with Jay. Jay was the reason I started fighting. He was the reason I started training, and maybe not the reason I started training, but he was the reason I started fighting. And whenever I talk about how people always ask me how I got into fighting, it always starts with one of my buddies was taking fights and I was helping him and I was doing well against him. Well, I'm always talking about Jay. So fast forward 10 years from when we started, and don't see Jay at all anymore. He moved away. One of the Marines, lives down in Virginia, now Minnesota, whatever. And not friends with Jay at all anymore. Don't talk to him. Have him blocked on every social media, everything.
Now you are, but you weren't mad at him before. You just drifted.
No. Well, so what happened is we 100% drifted, over the course of years and years. And I lost the fight, and Jay takes it upon himself to be he was gonna be the guy that's giving me tough love, but he's not giving me tough love talking to me. He decides to go and post on the underground or a message board. He's like, well, Joe needs to do this and blah, 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 blah. And 100% doesn't know what he's talking about. So I freaking, I got it right on him. Dude, what the fuck? You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're not around. You act like you're he puts it as he's trying to make himself look better is what he's trying to do. He's posting online well, I'm good friends with Joe, and this is what his problem is, and starts jumping. But it's 100% trying to make himself seem more important, like he's in the know. I'm like, motherfucker, you haven't been around for 10 years. Maybe stop acting like you're involved and you see what I'm doing and you understand what's going on. You don't know any more than anyone else that's watching on TV. You don't know anything you're talking about. So he did this. I went off on him. And I called him, bitched at him, told him, dude, cut the shit. Everything was fine for a little bit. Does it again next time we lose a fight. So now I'm like, dude, motherfucker, don't ever call me. Don't ever say you're my friend. Fucking let it go. It was I think the first one was when I fought Sam Stowe, which I was coming off ACL surgery, and I didn't have the best fight. I almost submitted him in the beginning of the round, and then I ended up losing. It was basically a kickboxing match, but I couldn't shoot. My knee was all messed up, and so that was the first time. The second time was after the Michael Johnson fight, and I got cracked just the way Diego got cracked with a right hand. I got cracked with the left hand right off the bat. Like and he couldn't recover. I lost decision, but
all fight,
but that was like
regaining
scorched earth as far as I'm concerned. Like fuck him. I don't talk to him.
I knew this story. Yeah, you were very upset.
Very upset.
Then that is I guess maybe that's what you're getting at, but that is something that a friend said to you that changed the way you felt about them. So much so that he no longer was a friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not pissed at him still anymore, but I've got enough fucking friends. I don't need he's not, it's not like he's nearby. It's not like I'd hang out with him anyways.
It's more trouble than he's worth.
Yeah, it's just not worth it, It's going to create some big awkward situation this year, though, because Chris rents a house up in Maine for the week. I guess Jay's going to be up there. So I think we're maybe not invited anymore. I don't know.
Really?
But yeah, I don't know. There's been comments made about how I should let it go and I should drop it. And I'm not mad at him, but I'm definitely not ready to be buddy-buddy with Jay.
See, the thing is, you didn't do the thing. Like that's the situation that I struggle with sometimes. Jay talks shit about you, you let it go. Jay talks shit about you again. You get to decide to let it go or not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, Jay killed your dog. Joe, it's about time you got over that. Why don't you let that go?
It was my dog. Yeah. You can be over it all you want. I never will forgive or forget. There's some things that you just don't forgive.
And it's not.
If you kill my dog, I'll never forgive you.
And it's not that I hate him, but I just don't want to be friends with him. I block him. He gets a different phone number. He tries to say, "Hey, are you over yet? Can we go back to being friends?" Like, get the fuck out of here.
Sometimes a guy makes so many withdrawals from the emotional bank account that you fucking close his account.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And he tries to just act like, like we're still best friends. And, dude, don't fucking talk to me. Don't fucking mention my name. Fucking stop acting like we're freaking boys and we're best friends because I haven't seen you in 10 years.
And where does he live? Is he, I mean, not specifically, but does he live near you to the point where you could ever,
No, that's the thing. He lives in, so I'm in Mass. He was in Virginia for a little while, which was hours and hours away. Mm-hmm. And now he's in Minnesota.
Yeah,
hours and hours away. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's... I changed the opinion of I got my opinion changed of someone a couple times. One was when I found out the guy I knew was the poop bandit at my high school and was shitting and drawing in shit on the bathroom walls.
Yep.
To be funny. That really changes your opinion of someone when you're like, wow, you are really committed to scat humor to do it into your own hand. And then, I should have brought this up when we were talking about calligraphy. He had some nice swirls and just a beautiful penmanship.
I imagine him with one of those paint trays, holding in the crook of his arm, and he's just got different kinds of shit, different diet for different hues. And he's just got a little pea green here.
What is this Tuesday saying to me? God, it feels like a yellow day. No, but that changed my opinion of him. Not necessarily for the better or worse, because I thought it was hilarious, but I also, it was more of in an unsettling way. All right, I'm going to make sure I am on your good side all the time. I'm not getting on the guy who shits into a napkin in his hand and writes on public property for no reason. The other one was a kid on my hockey team when I was, I must have been 16, and he was telling me if I know Woody's played hockey, but not as a kid. Hockey kids, they get a bad rap for being very badly behaved, getting involved in a lot of bad shit, and. Mostly I thought it was kind of a myth. Even at 16, I'm like, all these guys, even the worst they're doing, I guess, is smoking pot for the most part. But one of the guys on my team, one of the forwards, was talking to me and brought it up really casually before practice, man, have you ever smoked weed? And I was like, no. He's like, yeah, I used to be really into that. My buddy turned me on to this thing, heroin, though, and I've been loving it. I love heroin. And I was like, that's a pretty bad one, right? And he was like, I mean, some people say that, but honestly, until you've tried it, you can't knock it. They have no idea. It's just the government telling you. It's just the whole thing is reefer madness. The government just doesn't want you to have fun. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to go ahead and leave that to you. Fast forward 3 years later, I'm 19, haven't seen this kid since the end of that fucking season. I never took him up on the heroin offer, for everyone out there. And find out through a mutual former teammate that he ended up in jail, not jail, in prison for selling heroin in moderate to large quantities.
So he was right. The government doesn't want you to have fun.
That's what I took out of it. No, but that was like at 16 to like even know what I mean, obviously know what heroin is, but to try that, like, maybe it's because you're more ignorant when you're that young, but like at least in my head, there's always been like you can be adventurous a little bit, like as long as you're safe, maybe try a drug or two. Like it's illegal, so be prepared for consequences if you take that route in life. But there are some that are just on the hard no list, you know, like meth. No,
not even once.
Crack cocaine.
Not even once.
No.
I told that story 2 or 3 times, hanging out with those guys that I knew just a little bit. They're like friends of friends. They're really friends of a friend of an ex-girlfriend. So it's like, I don't know these motherfuckers. And I'm just hanging out with them in their backyard smoking a cigarette one night, and they're like, somebody brought up meth. And I was like, haha, crystal meth. Not even once, am I right? Because, you know, that's the whole ad campaign, not even once. And then it shows a little boy being taken advantage of by a pedophile, or like a woman's face degraded over, 10 years or something like that. And both of the guys went, well, I've done it a few times. And I'm just like, a few times? You mean you did it and then did it again? Well, yeah, for a year or so. And I'm just like, all right, I gotta go. I gotta fucking go.
I gotta go. I got electronics on me. You're gonna steal it and sell it to someone for more meth. Like, that's just, there's a huge meth problem in Missouri, and it fucking shows if you drive through this state on Highway 70, between St. Louis, Columbia and Kansas City. It's just piles of very clearly meth shacks, tons of them. Like,
yeah, that's awful. Did you see that link that I put in the chat there?
No, you put it in a different chat. I can't change.
I found it.
I put it in the recording chat.
That's not the one we're in.
I don't see it.
Oh, it's a new chat tonight.
I'm
okay,
excluded.
my bad.
We have to make a new one, remember?
I see how it is.
Yeah, put that in there. She just sent this to me earlier, and I thought he made it, but no, it's
it's coming. Sorry for the delay.
So for those of you listening, it's a picture of... I'll wait until you guys click on it and see it. But it's a picture of Woody in the Pokemon Go size thing, and it's him and his paramotor about to be captured. He's level, I guess, CP 69. So Woody, step up your training because you're a weak shit.
Yep.
Woody doesn't even appreciate that.
I'm gonna sell you for candies. You're not not a keeper yet.
That's the thing about Pokemon Go that's a little weird. Is like the way you get more candies is you ship all of your unwanted Pokemon off to this really, frankly, eccentric professor who is just having his way with, at this point, hundreds of millions of animals.
Yeah. Grinding them up, making them into candy, and then giving it back to you.
Yeah, yes, he's grinding them up, forming their supple little poke bodies into candies, and then he gives it back to you.
And then
he sells the meat to Tyson and makes a killing.
And the worst part is, because it's cannibalism, you take the candies that he makes from the ground up Pokemon and feed them to identical Pokemon. You see, a Charizard won't eat the candy from a Bulbasaur. He wants